Hi everyone, and welcome to our monthly Software and Internet Monthly Market Report for September 2020. Firstly, let's start with a bit of Sampford promotional materials. We obviously closed two transactions in September. We sold a B2B SaaS provider to a private equity-backed strategic, and we acted as the sell-side advisor. This will be announced in full in October at some point. And then also we sold Talisman, a Ottawa-based antenna and GPS company, to Calian, which is also an Ottawa-based public technology company, and we represented Talisman as their sole sell-side advisor. So we've been really busy. We've got a number of new announcements to come, and October should have some good announcements too. In terms of M&A highlights, it was a much busier month in September, so we've continued to see the volumes climb every month. So you can see in September, $24.3 billion of invested in M&A in the software space, 121 transactions, which we can talk about how that ranks versus some of the other summer months. And then a median revenue multiple across all transactions in September of 10.5. So that's obviously bounced back. I don't think that's obviously representative of the broader average, and we'll get into that a bit later. But it's good to see that all of these kind of metrics are bouncing back over the September period. You can see here in terms of deal volume and number of deals. So the line represents the number of deals. So we've continued, we've been talking about this trend for a while, that deal volume, the number of transactions is down on an annual basis from its peak in 2018. This has kind of continued. So on a current run rate, we're looking at about 1,300 transactions for the year. And actually, interesting enough, dollar volume, so the bar is annualized, you get to about 147 billion of volume. So better than 2018's numbers, but not quite as good as 2019. This could change over the course of the fourth quarter as we see more very large transactions getting announced, which is the expectation given that a lot of stuff was put on pause and those transactions are now very much in flow. And then on the valuation side of stuff, you can see this, non-SaaS is the gray line, so that's continued to kind of rebound and is more representative of the longer term average at 3.3 times. On the SaaS side, that multiple has continued to kind of come down, again, from more consistent with longer term averages in and around the 4 to 5 times range versus last year, which was a little elevated, obviously, versus previous periods. You can see more in terms of the monthly deal counts and everything on this page. I think it's actually a really interesting trend. So you can really see the impact of COVID through March and April, even through May, and the number of deals that were happening versus previous 2018, 2019 periods. This is September is the first month that we've kind of crossed over the 100 transactions for the month, which we haven't really seen since pre-COVID. So that's very encouraging. I would expect October, November, December to be pretty robust as well as we get through the fourth quarter, given the volume of deal making that's happening right now. So on the VC side of stuff, also a similar picture, of that kind of rebound. 5 billion invested in September across 300 transactions. The median deal size was a little bit smaller at $2.7 million. So obviously still a lot of money going into early stage investments from the VCs, which is definitely encouraging. Some notable raises, obviously Robinhood raised 660 million from Andreessen Horowitz. Chime raised 485 million. Zwift, one of my favorites, if you're a cyclist out there, you'll know about Zwift, raised 450 million from KKR. And then Attentive raised 230 million as well. So some larger transactions happening definitely across the space, and definitely encouraging to see. You can see this, if you annualize the volume year to date, you're going to get to about 49.1 billion. So in excess of what we saw in 2019. So definitely encouraging, and on a really good pace, despite some of the slowdown that we saw in related to COVID early on in April and May. And then lastly, on the valuation front, this shows, the early stage deals is the gray line. So, the average year to date is about 12.2 times Revenue, the blue line is the medium stage deals at 14.5 times, so that's up from last year. And then the late stage deals is the red line at 11 times. So both the late and medium stage deals are obviously up pretty decently from last year. The early stage deals are down, and that's not really a surprise. Like during COVID, a lot of those early stage deals needed additional funding, and that probably brought down the average a bit here. But still, all in all, very healthy. And I always look back at the long-term average and compare over the last kind of 4 or 5 years pre 2019, and all the numbers are pretty healthy versus the longer term averages. So anyway, we hope this was interesting information, and if you need more, we obviously do a monthly market report that includes a lot more info, and definitely reach out, and we're happy to chat. Thanks, and have a great month.